Freezing rain on a narrow street in a city you could not name. A phone screen lights up a face, and for the first time, the person watching forgets the world around them. This is where our story begins, not with a mission statement, but with an irresistible loop of attention. By AD 2012, a small Beijing startup called ByteDance existed to surface news with machine learning. But the pivot that mattered came later, when engineers asked a simple, dangerous question. What if the content finds you first, instead of you searching for content? That thought produced Douyin in AD 2016, a short video app built for China, and later its global twin, TikTok. What followed was not just a product launch, it was a new grammar of attention. In this chapter, we meet Zhang Yiming, the quiet founder who believed algorithms, not editors, would pick the winners. We also meet the first crews of product managers and engineers who rewired how people discover media. This opening scene sets the tone. Small technical choices turned into seismic social consequences. The rest of the film will trace how a recommendation engine learned the world, and how the world learned to love and fear it. ByteDance began life as a news aggregation company in AD 2012. Zhang Yiming and a small team built Taotao, a personalized news app that used machine learning to match readers with articles. The lesson was immediate. Personalization could scale editorial judgment better than human editors alone. That early mastery of recommendation systems became the DNA for everything that followed. In AD 2016, ByteDance launched Douyin, experimenting with vertical, short-form video and a feed that prioritized engagement over chronology. The app's early testing cycle was ruthless. Thumbnail experiments, millisecond reorderings, and tens of thousands of A/B tests taught the algorithm what stuck. Engineers discovered that watch time, how long a user stayed on a clip, was far more predictive than likes or follows. This made the product addictive in an intentional, engineered way. The company grew fast in China and, crucially, learned that culture-specific content could explode when the recommendation surface matched local tastes. That insight would guide the strategy to conquer global markets. But the path from domestic success to global dominance required a different set of choices and a willingness to spend aggressively on growth. The For You page, or FYP, became the defining interface. It was not just a list of clips, it was a bespoke river of content tuned to moments of attention. Technically, it combined many signals: watch time, rewatches, shares, comments, and even which part of the clip was rewatched. But for most users, the magic felt simple. Open the app and lose track of time. To achieve that, engineers layered candidate generation systems, broad fetches of possible clips, with ranking models that prioritized short-term engagement and long-term satisfaction. Think of it like a librarian who watches how long you stare at each book, then rearranges the shelves in real time to show you more you will linger on. The FYP also solved a cold start problem for creators. A great clip could reach millions even from a zero-follower account. That accelerated creativity and created overnight stars. By making virality a product feature, ByteDance rewrote the rules of distribution. Millions of creators, brands, and musicians learned that the algorithm could lift content faster than any traditional gatekeeper. This breakthrough is the technological heart of TikTok's power and the root of many later controversies. Conquering China was one thing. Conquering the West required more than code. In November AD 2017, ByteDance acquired Musical.ly for about $1 billion and, by AD 2018, merged it with TikTok. That deal bought local product market fit, an influential teen user base in the United States, and a tested creator economy. The integration was surgical: merge accounts, consolidate feeds, and apply ByteDance's recommendation engine at scale. The result was explosive growth. By late AD 2020, TikTok had roughly 800 million monthly active users worldwide. This was a triumph of product and timing: fast networks, cheap phones, and a cultural moment favoring short, remixable formats. But global expansion exposed new fault lines. Different markets had different rules, content norms, advertising systems, and regulatory frameworks, and ByteDance had to navigate all of them while remaining centralized in Beijing. The acquisition strategy showed the company could pay to shortcut distribution, but it also planted the seeds of a diplomatic backlash that would erupt later. Rapid growth invited scrutiny. Concerns about data flows and links to the Chinese state moved from op-eds into policy. In June AD 2020, India banned TikTok and dozens of other Chinese apps, a geopolitical shock that removed a huge market overnight. In the United States, the Trump administration issued executive orders in AD 2020 demanding divestiture or a ban, citing national security risks. Negotiations with potential partners, including a proposed deal involving Oracle and Walmart, dominated headlines. Legal fights followed, and the company faced investigations into data handling and content moderation. The heart of the debate was a simple tension. TikTok's algorithm required vast behavioral data to function well, yet centralizing that data raised legitimate national security questions for many countries. ByteDance responded with a mix of technical and diplomatic moves, promises of data localization, transparency centers, and separate moderation teams, but trust is not rebuilt overnight. These clashes show that a technological moat can become a regulatory Achilles heel when the product crosses borders and political fault lines. Faced with bans and negotiations, ByteDance did what tech companies often do. It pivoted and doubled down. In AD 2020, TikTok launched a creator fund to pay influencers and retain talent. The company also invested in advertising products that matched the algorithm's strengths, selling performance-based ad placements that were exceptionally efficient. On the security front, ByteDance proposed measures to store certain user data locally and to work with third parties to audit practices. In AD 2022, the company expanded efforts to show that U.S. user data could be isolated on domestic infrastructure and overseen by independent partners. These moves were designed to address political concerns while preserving the algorithmic core. At the same time, moderation rules and content policies evolved to placate regulators and advertisers. The balance was awkward. The product had to stay addictive enough to keep users, while being transparent enough to satisfy governments. This chapter shows how product, policy, and money intertwined, and how a single technical advantage became a strategic lever for both growth and geopolitical negotiation. People often call TikTok's algorithm a black box. In reality, it is a layered system optimized for rapid personalization. Imagine a massive library where every clip is cataloged with invisible tags, not just topic and creator, but the exact point where viewers laughed, rewound, or closed the clip. When you open the app, the system first gathers a broad set of candidate videos, like a librarian glancing at many books. Then, fast ranking models score these candidates, prioritizing clips most likely to keep you watching for longer and to return later. The strongest signals are behavioral. Watch time and rewatches outweigh likes and follows. The cold start problem is solved by amplifying early signals and by using content features, audio signatures, motion vectors, and text embeddings to find near matches. Engineers also use short training loops, so the model adapts quickly to trends. This technical recipe explains why the product feels so personal and why a single clip can go global in hours. But the same machinery that personalizes can also reinforce filter bubbles and surface harmful content if not carefully moderated. TikTok's story is both a triumph of engineering and a cautionary tale. It democratized virality, built new cultural pipelines for music and memes, and forced competitors to copy its format. Creators who once needed labels or TV slots now reach millions with a single 60-second idea. Economically, the platform rewired advertising toward performance metrics that prize engagement over impressions. But it also exposed a trade-off. The very data that creates value is the same data that provokes distrust. For executives and policymakers, the lesson is clear. Personalization is a double-edged sword. Build an algorithm that learns quickly, and you win attention. Fail to build safeguards, and you invite regulation and geopolitical blowback. Looking ahead, platforms will need to prove technical isolation, transparent moderation, and clear governance if they want to scale across borders. TikTok did more than conquer feeds. It forced the world to ask how we want technology to shape our attention and our public square. That is the lasting legacy and the strategic lesson for every company that believes an algorithm can replace a gatekeeper. I hope this deep dive gave you a new perspective on the strategies and the relentless mindset behind these global icons. If you enjoy deconstructing business empires and tech legends in this Tech Archive style, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on all notifications. That way, you will never miss a new blueprint of history. For those of you ready to explore more boardroom coups and technological breakthroughs, I have handpicked 2 videos for you right here on the screen. Click one to keep watching. I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.